Welcome to the Fantasy Draft Room. I am Chase. With me, as always, my man Cody. What do we got in store for the people today?
We're going to be doing a Scott Fishbowl mock live. We have the Scott Fishbowl draft coming up for you, I believe, this weekend. For me, I'm doing one live in Dallas with a bunch of the content people in our community. Ray G will be there. Matthew Bruning will be there. Gene might be there. We don't really know how that one's going to go, but we got a lot of other people. Bob Harris from the community. I mean,
Awesome.
just tons of industry people that I'm so psyched to meet up with at the live draft in Dallas. So cannot wait for that one on the 15th. Going to be driving up there, making the trip from Houston. But both of us, I mean, we need some experience. We need some practice drafting with this format right now. We need some experience of how to take down the Scott Fishbowl. Obviously, it's for charity. That's great, but we also want to win it.
Absolutely, man. We're all about getting victories, right? So yeah, it is for a great cause. This is my first Scott Fishbowl, officially being part of it. This is your second one. You won last year, I believe, from doing a marathon 2 a.m. listen, to a live stream and tap it in there. So that this is your second year. Shout out to Ray G, because Ray is the one who was able to, he has some pull, and he knows some people that know some people that was able to get me an invite here. So truly appreciate that. Super proud to represent Destination Devi in the Scott Fishbowl. So just to kind of dive into a couple things with Scott Fishbowl here, it is start 11. It's a lineup league, but it's one quarterback with a super flex, of course, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then 3 flexes and then there's a 4th, which is the super flex. So start 11. And then just to kind of go through some of the scoring, because this is a very different format than
format.
Very wild. So this is going to be the scoring for all positions. And then there is a bonus for a couple of things here. So I will just kind of read this off here. So passing touchdowns are 5.9 points. Passing yards are the standard 0.04. Then we have passing completions. You get 0.1 points per completion. Rushing yards is 0.1 as well. I'm not going to go into 2-pointers and all that other crap. That's all the same. Rushing attempts is 0.25. So it's a 0.25 point per carry. Then you have receiving yards 0.1. It is a full PPR. So you have that going for us here. And then we do have kickers as an option in this. So when it comes to field goals made, so basically it's 0.1 point for every yard.
Yep.
It's a 50-yard field goal, 5 points. Just kind of break it down. Extra points are 3.3 points, which is because it's a 33-yard kick. And then you have punt return touchdown, 6 points. All of that kind of stuff is pretty standard. You do have passing first downs, 0.1 point for a passing first down, a full point for a rushing first down, and a full point for a receiving first down. So we do have that. Now, there are a couple bonuses in play here. This is a tight end premium. So the tight ends actually score an additional 4 points for each touchdown. So instead of the 5.9, they actually get 9.9 points per touchdown. And they get an additional full PPR. So that's, 2 points per reception for the tight end position. And they get an additional 1 point for first downs. So receiving first downs or rushing first downs are going to be 2 points for the tight end position. Absolutely wild.
Catch a touchdown. That's a first down and 10 yards. I mean, you're looking at like what, a 18-point play almost. It is going to be crazy scoring for the tight ends. This year is all about being positive in the Scott Fishbowl League, pushing everything forward, not backward. There is no negative scoring. Interceptions, throw an interception, doesn't matter. Fumble the ball, doesn't matter. You rush backwards, doesn't matter. No negative scoring at all in the Scott Fishbowl League this year. Only positive stuff this year.
Yeah. So lots of fun, incredible league. I'm in the Panda Express League, and since mine's going to be online on MFL, and so I do actually have the number 1 slot in mine, and I believe you have the number 2.
Got the number 2 slot in the Dave and Buster's live draft.
So we have those positions set up here. So we are going to do a mock draft based on those settings. It is just going to be us 2, and then the rest are going to be auto picks, but we do have everything built into the system as much as possible as we possibly could. So what's really going to matter is our picks. Everything off the board in between should theoretically be pretty much off the board. There might be a few picks here or there that is a little bit different, but that's what the fun is. We want to get some practice in as we do Scott Fish Bowl. Mine does kick off next week on, I want to say Monday or Tuesday. So I need to be ready. And so, yeah, if you want to go ahead, and we got this pulled up here. So here we are. I'm going to start things off here as soon as you kick off this draft. I know we got it paused. So with the first pick, I think I'm a little torn on what I want to do exactly. I'm leaning two players here. For me, it's Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts just because of the rushing potential. So I think I'm going to stick with the guy that's been, quarterback one overall for quite some time here in terms of finishes. He's been up in the top 3 almost every year. I'm going to take Josh Allen for this mock. I'm going to see how it goes for me.
Love that you do that, because you just took exactly what we were talking about pre-draft and just turned it straight on my head, because you were a full Jalen Hurts guy right before this. Not less than, maybe 5 minutes ago, you would have been taking Jalen Hurts, but now you're a Josh Allen guy, and I love it. I love seeing how this is going to play out for you. But I'm going to be a Patrick Mahomes. I'm not even taking your 2. I'm taking who should be the 2, who possibly could be the 1. It is Patrick Mahomes for me, and that is the way we are going here. And now we're going to go through the series of auto picks until we get back around to me, and then looking to see where Travis Kelce goes, because unfortunately in the sleeper system, it does not value the tight end premium as much as it should. And so Travis Kelce does go. He should be a first round pick, though, in most of these leagues if it was a normal startup.
And for the most part, you're probably going to see Travis Kelce going in the top 6, top 8 of the draft because of the scoring and how prolific he is going to be. Like, he's seriously a top 5 player of any position. He's the top position player, but he's like a top 4 quarterback basically. So give you some kind of perspective as far as how good he is in the Scott Fish Bowl scoring.
Yeah, and so now I'm going to put a little bit of your feet to the fire, I think. I do have one quarterback left that I think is a little bit above the rest. I'm going to go quarterback and quarterback, fill up my superflex position from the first 2 rounds, and I'm going to let you decide what you want to do on this turn, giving me a free wheel to come back to the third, because I have a couple of players who I'm okay with outside of the QB position. So I'm going to go with Dak Prescott as my QB2, starting off Mahomes, Prescott.
Okay. That one did catch me off guard just a little bit. I thought you were going to go with somebody else. So I'm good with that. Like, we have seen how good Dak Prescott can be in the past. Feet to the fire. Honestly, you made this pick very, very easy for me here. I'm also going to take my super flex quarterback.
And do remember, we are on a 3rd round reversal, so we are not actually picking back to back here. Okay.
Yep. Nope. I totally remember that. I am taking the guy that I feel like I thought you were going to take, and talking about rushing upside is going to be Daniel Jones. So I'm going to take Danny Dimes here. So I have 2 rushing potential quarterbacks, and then seeing what Dimes did last year, top 10 quarterback finish. Think he can do that again. I'm glad Mark Andrews came off the board, because I know he will not be there for you in most drafts. So very happy we don't have to see that play out.
He wouldn't actually be there for me in any draft. He's probably going to be a round 2 pick, maybe even a back or a first round pick with the tight end scoring here. So I could lean into a TJ Hawkinson or a George Kittle or a Kyle Pitts, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to let you see if you want to make that pick on this turn. I think we're going to lean into the wide receiver position here, actually. As I'm looking at the running backs, there's not too much that separates itself out. Quarterbacks are obviously done for a good bit of a while. And so I'm going to lead off my draft with one player that I've actually been a little bit lower on than consensus, but in this year, in a 1-year format, I'm actually going to lean back into the possibility that Jalen Waddle could be my wide receiver 1 for this team over Chris Olave, who was my wide receiver. It was a tough choice between the 2, but I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle.
Okay. I was not expecting that. I guess he was the best player on the board, like as far as wide receivers go. He's the best wide receiver on the board. So I have no doubts there. I do like that pick for you. So you are making me make a tough choice here. And I think just because this is a mock, I want to see how this format plays out here. Being that I have back-to-back picks here at the end of the 3rd, I am going to do a double tap. And I'm going to double tap tight end. And I'm going to take TJ Hawkinson, and I'm going to take George Kittle. I'm going to take both of them because I think Kittle's upside of what he can be in that offense is unmatched. And I love TJ Hawkinson as well. And with what we kind of saw as a breakout. So just going to kind of take that positional advantage and see if I can run with it.
All right, you're going to force me in. I did not think you were going to force me to double tap here. I thought I was going to get either Kittle or Hawkinson, but you're going to force my hand. We're going to have three tight ends in the last 3 picks, 4 in the last 5, and I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts here to get my tight end off the board right at the 4-2, right after you took 2 tight ends of the turn.
So I have to ask you this because as we're doing this, do you think Hawkinson, Kittle, Pitts are off the board before we come up at the end of the 3rd here because of the format? I mean, I'm good to take this with the mock as it is, but I am genuinely curious if you think that those guys would be there.
I think the ones that I've seen, typically Kelsey is a 1st-round pick. Then it kind of formulates around what you typically see from like a dynasty tight end premium mock, where you see Andrews and Pitts going off in the early 2nd, and then Hawkinson somewhere in that back of the 2nd to 3rd round range. So I don't think they're getting to us here in the back of the 3rd. Typically, okay. I have not seen that from the mocks that I've been in.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was curious of, to see if they were actually going to be there. So I'm good with it. Again, rolling with the punches here and how this one's kind of playing out.
Yeah, obviously cannot have perfect situations. Know your league, know what your draft is going to be. But every Scott Fishbowl, even though there are all of these mocks out here, there's the podathon where people are going to be talking about the strategy and everything. These mocks are going to be completely different whenever you get into your league. It happens every year. Oh, yeah. You know, there's a lot more just not industry people who are playing in this every single year. Scott Fish is opening this up to more and more people every year. And so people, you know, maybe they're not seeing what the actual format is. Maybe they're not seeing the board as it should be played out. Maybe they're not really participating in the mocks as much as some of us are, you know, the full degenerates out here looking at Scott Fishbowl mocks before, you know, we get into the draft. But it's an absolute blast of a time to do, though. And you know, you can take up a little bit of advantage in some places, but here I am looking to probably get either another wide receiver or a running back, looking at probably an Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, or a Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin type. I'm actually going to lean into the crusty vet. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. We're going to get back to my roots here. Jalen Waddle and Kyle Pitts aren't really me. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. Love me some Keenan Allen.
And, you know, I'm glad you did that because he was going to be my wide receiver pick if I had to make one there. But you know my love of one J.K. Dobbins. And I've been a big stan of his for a while now. But I think this is going to be a really good year for him. And I love Aaron Jones. So I'm going to double tap yet again. So I double tap quarterback in the first 2 picks, double tap tight end. I know those weren't back to back the first 2, but we are going to go back to back with the running back position and take Jones and Dobbins.
Now you put me in a little bit of a precarious situation here because I really want to punt running back. There's only, you know, Davian Pierce is the best one on the board left. Swift, Sanders, Cook, maybe potentially I'm getting like a Javonte Williams back if I want to bet on the injury, you know, that he comes back well and comes back week 1. I don't know if I want to do that though, but I love the wide receivers here. And I think there is a little bit of a fall off after this Terry McLaurin pick. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to see how it goes. It is a mock. Want to see how this one plays out with fully punting running back for the first 6 rounds. Let's go with Terry McLaurin. You're punting wide receiver. I'm punting running back. Let's see how these teams turn out.
Yeah, you know, I've been looking at looking at the scoring here, and that's kind of what I was kind of looking at to see, you know, how I could still build. Obviously, running back with the point per carries is pretty big. You know, missing out on that top group of wide receivers does hurt. So we'll see. We're gonna see what's actually available to me next time around. But yeah, you are now on the clock here.
What you gonna do? This is tough, man. Honestly, there's a little bit of a part of me that wants to get back to tight end with Evan Ingram. But I know you have I know you have no reason to take tight ends. So if I wanted it, it could be back around on the next turn. Hey. If you want to flex 3 tight ends and no wide receivers and you're starting 3 wide receiver slots, you go ahead. I'll let you make that choice. But okay. It is running back for me. I pretty much have to go here. Honestly, with the guys on the board, I probably would have loved to have taken the running back last time with Dameon Pierce and then gone with a Hollywood or a Mike Williams as my wide receiver 3. But we're in the situation we're in. We're laying in the bed, and now it's between James Conner and Javonte Williams. This is a tough choice, man. James Conner's the only one there. Javonte Williams, it's just the health. James Conner doesn't have the health either, and I don't like really either of these two to lead the running back room. But if I had to pick one who's going to be there for all of my Scott Fish Bowl weeks, get me the wins, get me to the playoffs, it's going to be James Conner. Let me get those wins on a really bad team, and let me just hope and pray that James Conner can stay healthy for long enough.
That's the right move. I mean, it was like if you would have left me James Conner, you would have actually left me in a like with a tough decision. But you took him. Happy you did, because that was definitely the right play here. I am just going to be like, this is going to look like a plain Jane draft. Like, was Chase even trying here? But I'm going to double tap wide receiver here. I need wide receiver in the worst way, and the two that are in my queue made it to me, which is Hollywood Brown. I'm going to take Hollywood here, and I'm going to take myself some Mike Evans. It's not Mike Williams. Mike Evans. I mean, the dude's just a 1,000-yard, 8-touchdown dude every year, and I don't see why that couldn't happen this year for him. I'm going to take the shot that, especially at this late in the draft, that's going to be there for me. So I'll take those two. Kind of like how this is going so far.
Honestly, I mean, it looks a little bit color coded. I know you can't see it, but it does honestly look pretty good, even though you're just going back and double tapping every single position as you get there. But it leaves me again with a little bit of a tough choice. I've got, do I want to lean back into the running back? I know I had the choice of James Conner, Javonte Williams that was tearing me apart. Do I just want to lean back in and take Javonte now that I know I've got James Conner? Or do I want to say, hey, I'm leaning into the format? Obviously this mock is a little bit underrepresenting where the tight ends would go. I could just lean into who I think is the last really kind of like mid-tier upper echelon tight end in Evan Ingram this year, or another wide receiver in Mike Williams. I think I'm going to rule out Mike Williams, and then I'm going to lean between Javonte Williams and Evan Ingram. I'm going to lean on the fact that Evan Ingram is a little bit closer to the rest of the tight ends than I think Javonte could be to the rest of the running backs. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams and hope that he comes back and is healthy sooner rather than later this year.
There's a player on the board right now that I am absolutely shocked about. And I know, again, this is only because things are getting auto-picked around us. He's still on the board. Still on the board. Oh, my God. I'm not going to tell you yet, but go ahead. Take your pick.
Now you're going to absolutely... I don't know if you're going to belittle the hell out of me, but I mean, there could be a Kyler Murray if you want to bet on 8 weeks of not having Kyler Murray and play him as your QB3 while we already have.
It's Kyler. That's who it was.
I just don't know, man. I mean, honestly, if you look at last year, Scott Fish, not to compare the situations one for one at all, but in terms of just time projected miss, you're probably looking at the same thing with Deshaun Watson of last year. And really, like, what's the use of holding him on your bench whenever you already probably have 2 quarterbacks? I mean, if you want to go the full punt route, I fully get it, but I don't actually see too much upside of drafting Kyler this year.
I'm with you to a point. Like, we're in round 9. We're in round 9, and he's on the board. Like, that to me is shocking. Like, you have some builds here that just had Bryce Young and Jordan Love taken. Like, I'm just saying there's definitely teams that could use a Kyler Murray. I get it because it's the redraft focus, it's the single season, but like, he's a quarterback that can change the trajectory of your team if you punted quarterback for the first 6 rounds.
It could be, but what are you sacrificing in terms of the player that you could pick there that is a starting piece in your roster still at this point?
True.
And what is even his what is he whenever he comes back? He's probably going to take a little while, like Deshaun did.
Seconds, by the way.
Yeah, we actually got to make this pick pretty quickly. Antonio Gibson, Juju, Dalton Schultz, Chig. We're going to lean into another running back, actually, Antonio Gibson. I've been a little bit higher on Antonio Gibson lately than a lot of people.
Yeah, I like the Gibby pick. that kind of sucks because that's who I was looking at there. That's all right. Okay. I still have wide receivers out here. Yeah, no, I was just kind of thinking about the Kyler stuff just because, like thinking about team 7, just looking at that as an example again. I know auto picks, but I would have much rather had my third quarterback be Kyler Murray over taking my fourth wide receiver in Kadarius Toney. Like,
That's fair.
Like, give me that opportunity.
Also, that team has no tight ends. So
and that's it.
The sleeper auto picks are not really taking the total team build into account.
Yeah, definitely not helping him out at all in this build here. So, all right. So I am on the clock here. I have 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. I'm looking at the wide receivers on the board. There's a couple that stand out to me here, and I think I'm going to do it. I don't know that I love it, but I'm going to take Brandon Cooks. He's been a 1,000-yard receiver everywhere he's gone. He's a true number 2 that Dallas has been looking for. I just don't know really if this offense is going to, with old Brian Schottenheimer, if it's going to actually be as pass heavy as it was in the past. And that's what concerns me with this pick and why I'm stalling still. But I think that's where I gotta go. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take Brandon Cooks here. I'm just kind of looking at the other wide receivers while I do, so that I can decide what I want to do with my next pick. It's kind of we're away from like the true number 1 running backs at this point. James Cook, I guess, maybe. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Khalil Herbert, like Charbonnet, I like a lot. And I feel like just because it's you, and I know you got 3 running backs.
He's in my queue. I will say he's in my queue.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
But so I have taken 3 running backs in a row the last 2 picks.
You have. I mean, there's your other guy, Dalton Schultz, that's still out there. So there's that possibility too. And Juju, of course, do you want a 3rd running back or a 4th running back or a 4th wide receiver is kind of where you're at. So I do think I'm going to go back to it. I'm not gonna lie. I looked at Kyler. Like it just can't get it out of my head. But I'm gonna take Charbonnet here. I need upside shots at running back. Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Zach Charbonnet. I'm okay with that. I think he's gonna have a good role in Seattle.
Absolutely love Zach Charbonnet. I think you did need the 3rd running back here, especially in this format where the wide receivers are a little bit undervalued compared to the running backs, which is why it scared me to wait all the way until round 7 to take one. And so you do leave me with, obviously, Zach Charbonnet was in my queue. Now I have Juju, Dalton Schultz, and Chig in my queue. You said literally all of my queue except Chig. And so I'm pretty sure you're probably looking at my screen as I'm the one sharing this right now, and you can see.
Oh, I didn't even look at that. I was looking at it. I didn't even see it. Of course, everyone else is like, well, duh, Chase. Like, it's
you're looking at the screen. No,
I was looking at my own queue. Everybody looking at my own sleeper.
I know you've got me on hidden. It's okay. It's okay. No, we're not cheating over here. But it is for me now that we're at this point, especially, I'm not trying to capitalize too much on the draft, not valuing the tight ends as much as they should be. But here, whenever you give me the opportunity between my 4th wide receiver of Juju or Dalton Schultz or Chig, I'm going to take the upside swing in a format like SFB, where it is kind of a tournament style setting. I think we're up to like 3,340 teams that are going to be in this tournament. And so I'm going to take the upside swing. I don't think that's Schultz. I think it is Chigoziem Okonkwo. I'm not about him as much in fantasy or in dynasty as a lot of people are. But if you want to have the upside shot, I do believe that is Chig over Schultz.
Yeah, I guess I can see it. I'm also a big proponent of tight ends or being a rookie quarterback's best friend. So I could see Dalton Schultz just getting peppered with 5-yard curl routes. Like I could totally see option routes galore, hook in, out, make your decision and just check down. Like that's my only thing with Schultz. But yeah, Chig's good too. Can't take anything away from him.
I mean, if rookies are tight end's best friend, tight end's a rookie's best friend, it could be that Will Levis is playing pretty sooner rather than later for Ryan Tannehill. And Chig's probably the second best
Touche.
receiving option that they have on that team. It's
You are not wrong there.
Treylon Burks and Chig. I mean, they're probably going to use him as a wide receiver more so than he will be a tight end, with Josh Wiley, I think, being a little bit more of a true like inline tight end, and then Chig being a little bit more of a split out Y. But I'm going to go here. I'm thinking that the wide receiver is going to dry up a lot. I'm looking at the names on the board. I don't like what I'm seeing below the guys that I have highlighted now. And honestly, I don't even really like the guys that I have highlighted now. It's Odell, Jacoby Myers, Adam Thielen. Like, I'm going old and freaking crusty here. But this team is old and crusty except for Waddle. It has been, outside of my first couple of picks, we've been leaning into it hard. I'm going to keep leaning into it. I actually really like what I think Adam Thielen could be with a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young. I think he's going to be a touchdown upside guy, and in a start 11, I don't mind playing Adam Thielen for probably the 11 games that he's healthy out of 17.
Yeah, I'm good with that. He was in my queue as well. He was below the one you were talking about, which is Odell Beckham. I feel like they're going to give him every opportunity to be the number one in that offense.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, it could be Zay Jones. It could be Rashad Bateman. Like, all of those guys I believe in. I don't believe nearly as much in all the other guys in Carolina. I think that's the only thing that separates it for me.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And I'm with you. Like, Thielen, if he's healthy, if he can stay healthy all year, I mean, this is his age 33 season, which is the concern that I keep going back on. It's like, all right, wide receivers at that age, typically that it's the cusp. Like, he's at that cusp. So that's my only concern with him. But yeah, I'm with you. He was in my queue just below Odell. I mean, Odell's had knee injuries galore. So I can't really say anything about him staying healthy either. But yeah, I think I'm going to take, so that's your fourth wide receiver. I'm going to take my fourth as well. And I'm definitely taking Odell. And I'm having the debate as well of having a plethora of picks between us as, we hit the long turn. I do need a running back. Like, I would love another running back here. It's also getting gross. I just don't know really what I want to do with this pick. Like, Algier doesn't necessarily do it for me. Like, I keep looking for home run. I guess I would, talking about having two backups essentially with Charbonnet and Algier. But there's no like confirmed like, oh yeah, Donta Foreman, he's the starter. I think I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take Algier here and just roll with it.
Yeah, you're a little bit more of an Algier guy than I am. I had a couple of other running backs over him, but I don't think I'm going running back. I think I'm going to lean a little bit more into what you were saying of like, I want one more wide receiver in this last tier before I think it just gets to where I don't want to start any of these guys ever again. And honestly, even these guys I don't really want to start, but I think they could give me some serviceable weeks. So I'm really sitting here between Jacoby Myers, Darnell Mooney, Tyler Boyd, Rondale Moore. Those are my four that I'm looking at and trying to figure out who I want to be my wide receiver 5, and probably not touch wide receiver again for a long while, because I never want to start another one of these guys below that. Like Nico Collins, nah, I'm good. DJ Chark, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm probably going to hammer a lot of running backs here, not to divulge too much strategy as the rest of it we go, but I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to go actually with a little bit of what I think is an upside play. It's not Tyler Boyd, so I'm going to take him off. It's not Darnell Mooney because I don't think the offense is good enough. It's between Jacoby Myers and Rondale Moore. I'm going to go with impulse pick. Let's go with Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams. There we go. Adams is not his first name. Devontae Adams could actually be out of this offense. I really do think that's an actual possibility. And so I'm going to go with I'm just saying, man, there's no reason for him to be there if he's not happy. And he doesn't think the team's going to be good, which nobody thinks they're going to be good.
Fair. We'll see. We'll see. But I get it. I get the logic behind it. I like Jacoby Myers. I think, yeah, I can paint the picture. I'm with
Hey,
it.
your Kyler Murray's still here in round 13.
I I know it's redraft. I gotta keep that in my mind that he's missing a good chunk of the season, if not all of it. So I get the risk there, but it's kind of wild.
It is, and unfortunately, every freaking running back that I wanted to take at this pick just went off the board. I am now down to Raheem Mostert and Chase Brown.
Ooh.
I mean, I really wanted Tanker Kendry to swing around on that pick, and I really thought it was going to happen. All of these tight ends from the auto picks just happened to go off as well, so I don't even want to go back into that really running. I mean, there was only four other wide receivers during this entire time, no quarterbacks, just absolutely did not go the way I wanted to on the turn. And so I'm left here with a very difficult decision of if I want to lean in one more time to the wide receiver. I really do not. It's not the way I'm going to go. I'm going to lean into either the running back. Honestly, you're trying to talk me into it on Kyler Murray just to put that on the bottom of my bench and ride that out the rest of this. But tight end, I mean, it's Juwan Johnson, Trey McBride. I could take a third one, but I don't know how much a third one really helps me at this point of the draft. I think I'm just going to lean into what I think is probably the best strategy in a lineup. I'm going to go with the best running back that I think is here with the most upside, and I think that's Raheem Mostert right now. If Jeff Wilson and Devon Achane can't cut it out this year, it's going to be Raheem Mostert being the guy for one more year until he fades off.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. We play a ton of best ball. Ton of best balls. Yes, we still have some lineup leagues. I'd say I'm 70-30 in terms of percentages. Like I've 70% best ball. 50-50. Okay. Yeah. So I've picked up way more best ball leagues. I just enjoy them a lot more, but I do still have a good chunk of lineup. Being that this is lineup, obviously the idea is any running back on a 53, or at least, the 2 deep, maybe 3 deep later on. This is only 22 roster spots, so you don't want to waste anything really. But you want to make sure you have at least the wide receiver position figured out and know who you're starting. There are a couple names here that are still of interest, not necessarily that I would want to start, but I do think there's an upside shot with the guy that I'm about to pick here, which is going to be Romeo Dobbs. And there's a lot of hype about him. He played significantly. He played a significant part of his rookie season, and he played pretty well before he got hurt. Yes, Christian Watson's there, but he did enough to kind of stand out. It sounds like he's having a really good offseason again. So if he can stay healthy, I do like the upside shot with what Romeo is. And if he's not it, I know I can drop him. But I'm going to pick up old Dobbs there. And then you took Mostert, and I think that's the thing that kills me. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh man, there's the one other wide receiver I was considering here. And it's just, again, it's off of camp hype. I just don't even know if I want to take any news of Sky Moore, Jalen Hyatt, KJ Osborne. Like, we're just in that gross range right now that I just don't even care. Running backs, we got Jalen Warren with the rumor of Kareem Hunt potentially coming in there. Again, it's a rumor. Jeff Wilson, Jerome Ford. I mean, we are in true backup territory. I think the only one that I'm going to consider here, I think I'm just going to take him because we've talked about him a lot in the last 2 hours, is I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard. And it's just opportunity that he has a split backfield, that he gets some touches from Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has an injury history as well. So maybe there's a shot that Chuba has a spot start week throughout.
I'm going to make this one pretty quick. I'm just going to take Sky Moore on the chance that he is a stack with Patrick Mahomes, as you let me take him at the 2.
Yep. And I'm fine with it. Again, have him. Good for you.
Thank you.
That's all I got. So this thing's wrapping around, and as we see all the fun names coming off the board,
everybody
here,
I'm queuing is leaving. God damn it!
That's why I stopped. I just stopped queuing. I stopped queuing until you're up, because I know that everything I queue is going to be gone.
They were disappearing off the board in front
I want
of me.
to point this out real quick. We haven't seen a single quarterback come off the board since round 9. Like, not a single one has come off the board.
I mean, it's probably a little bit because of the sleeper format and just what the algorithm is, but there's also a lot of quarterbacks that really probably should be drafted up above this. There's a large part of me that wants to lean into this Kyler Murray pick because I know that you're probably going to take him on this turn if I let him go through. I think I'm going to let you take him though. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with two other picks here. The other, I know I have one. The other one I'm trying to figure out right now. See if there's anybody that I could really see myself taking over the Kyler Murray pick as we're here on the board. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time. Yeah. Actually, I can't because you're the first turn, so I can't give you Kyler Murray. I'm just going to give you Kyler Murray. I'm going to let you talk through your picks. I'm going to take a third tight end and Trey McBride. Really love what he could possibly be as a tight end one with the Arizona Cardinals with a kind of depleted wide receiver core.
I hate you. I was gonna do the double tap, and I might even let you do it. I might let you take the stack of McBride and Kyler. I think I might just let you do that now. That can be your play. Because I'm just so mad at you for making me do that. So I looked at tight end. I saw Trey McBride. He was one I had highlighted. They featured him in there. I think I am gonna do it. I'm still gonna take Kyler Murray. Screw it. I have Danny Dimes. I have Josh Allen, but it's kind of a preventative measure from preventing the rest of the league from getting what could be a top 10 quarterback if he's healthy and playing well. And if he is healthy and playing well, I do have the Hollywood stack. So at least I got a stack here. Woohoo! So there is that there. And then with the second pick, I debated on a wide receiver that we've talked about quite a bit that I think we're both pretty high on, but I'm gonna leave wide receiver alone here. I am gonna take a running back that I project to be the number 2 or 3 on that team coming in. I think he has the potential to take over the number 2 sooner than later. And there's also the issue with a torn ACL with Breece Hall. So I'm actually going to go with Izzy Abanikanda and hope that he has a role in that offense. So we've seen what why am I drawing a blank on offensive coordinator? Denver Broncos fired
We've
head
seen
coach
what
Nathaniel Hackett. We've seen that he can't hack it, but he likes to run the ball. So they do like to use 2 running backs. Hopefully he can get that opportunity there, and I'm going to take Abanikanda.
I thought you were actually going to take the guy that I'm going to take right here, who is a locked-in running back 2 for his team, and that is in Gus Edwards. If J.K. Dobbins has any setback or injury throughout this year, it is a Gus Edwards show. We've seen it time over time again. Gus Edwards is the one. Obviously, we didn't see it last year because he was hurt the entire year, but I still do love myself some Gus Bus. Absolutely love it. And we see the quarterback run from sleeper go. I think this is about the time that we should wrap up.
This is the kicker run.
This is about the time that we should wrap up this draft. Kickers obviously should be probably taken a little bit higher than this. We didn't really want to take them in this draft because sleeper is not going to value the kicker position to what it should be valued at. Do you just want to go through and see if we could both take a kicker here and see if the sleeper bot kick takes them on the other side? Sure. I do have to actually take a kicker as I'm in a sleeper league.
Yeah, I'm in NFL, so I do not have to, but
you probably want to be starting one because they do score a damn good bit. They have like a 11 to 12 week floor. So I do like these guys. I'm going to take myself some Will Lutz, I think.
You son of a... you dirty little dog, you. Did you take him already?
Oh, yeah, I took him already. Honestly, Dustin Hopkins is a pretty good one as well.
I can't believe you sniped me on a freaking kicker. I think that's what I'm most disappointed about.
We have never in the year and a half that we have known each other, I don't think we have once ever talked about a kicker.
ever.
Nice. Nice.
I queued up 2, and I was like, oh, because I was gonna do my double tap strategy and just double tap 2. One of them was Will Lutz. I was like, that's an easy one. I can't believe he still made it here. And then Jason Sanders is the other one, the kicker from Miami. So I was like, all right, let me take Sanders. And I guess I'll take Dustin Hopkins. I mean, might as well at this point. Who cares? It's a kicker.
All right, I'll lean into this, and we'll both go double tap.
Just
Blankenship is in a battle, isn't he? I don't even think that he fully has the job yet. He's still being taken up this high. I'm gonna go with the Badger. I'm gonna go with Michael Badgley.
There you go. Oh, look at that quarterback run now.
And the quarterback run goes. I think this is about the time that we need to wrap up this sleeper draft, because at this point we've probably built out our teams as to the best that sleeper can handle. And so we'll wrap them up here.
I don't even think you need to pick here. I'm just going to kind of look through the board here as we go, because at this point, it is auto picking, but we at least had a good idea of roster construction. I think that, I like how I started things with the 2 quarterbacks. I wanted the double tap tight end just to have that flex position potential. And obviously, Kittle does get banged up, so there's also that possibility too. I like the 2 running backs. I do think I would have done things a little bit differently, at least snagging, wide receiver maybe a little bit earlier, because I could have potentially gotten a couple different options there later at the running back position. But in the end, I kind of like my team. I'm okay with it. I don't know if it's anything special. I don't think it's anything that's going to propel me to victory.
Hey, anytime that you have an Allen and Daniel Jones team, or anytime that I have a Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott team, I think that we're well within the mix. And you've got 2 tight ends in this format. Obviously, it will not play out like this in our actual Scott Fishbowl drafts. Expect these tight ends to be pushed up the board probably 1 to 2 rounds, especially as you go further down the board, just because of how heavy that tight end premium is. But with my team here that we were able to build through this mock draft on sleeper, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, I like the 3 wide receivers that I got early in Waddle, Keenan Allen, and Terry McLaurin.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't exactly build to where the points lie in this format, but I think that they still have enough of an advantage over the rest of the wide receivers for it to be worth it. Kyle Pitts, obviously you're taking the bet, but I do like the guys that I backfilled my tight end position with Chigo Okonkwo and Trey McBride, 2 young guys that I do think have a lot of upside. And then the running back position that I built out later, James Conner, Javonte Williams, Antonio Gibson, Raheem Mostert, and Gus Edwards. That is a injury-laden backfield, and I'm playing on a lot of variance in the Scott Fishbowl if it works out this way. So honestly, I don't think that we're really going to – I don't think that we're going to build one like this. I think that's a little bit too risky for my blood. But, hey, if you want to play on some high variance, maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think I would have done things a little bit differently next time around. Maybe I would have taken a Smitty instead of double tapping tight end to ensure that I had a little bit more secure wide receiver at the top, or even leaned into potentially, I guess, all the top tier running backs that I was interested in were off the board. Maybe Ramondre or Pollard, Najee type range would have been of interest, but at the same time, I wanted to just kind of play the format and see how it panned out. Again, don't love it, don't hate it. I think I'd be a playoff team, but I don't think I would be necessarily a championship team.
And we all know as soon as the season starts, it all goes to hell anyway. So we love doing these drafts, though. Love doing these mocks. Love Scott Fishbowl as well. The Toys for Tot charity that they provide for is absolutely fantastic. Giving toys to children at Christmas. All of the proceeds for Scott Fishbowl go to this. If you want to donate even more, you can donate as you get entered into the tournament. If you are one of those last few teams, I think there's still a couple of spots that they might be trying to fill yet. I know they've got a lot of people on reserve in case people don't get in. So definitely sign up for that at the Scott Fishbowl website. And if you're not even in one, hey, if you're not even in Scott Fishbowl, go to a live draft. Like, I'm so freaking excited to go to Dallas and actually meet all these people. If I'm not even in a draft, I would still probably drive up there just to go hang out with people for a day, have some beer, have a good time, watch some live drafts. It's going to be an absolute blast. I know you're doing yours live, and I even had a blast lot just at home last year in the Scott Fishbowl. Absolutely hell of a time. So make sure you check that out. I think the Podathon is going on this weekend. That's how I won my entry last year. So it's going to be a hell of a time. Make sure you tap into the Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to my draft kicking off. Have several content creators in there, and like you said, going to the live draft, you can actually meet a bunch of content creators. You can meet Cody. You'll get the chance to just be a part of that atmosphere. Great experience. I'm actually super jealous that you're going to be able to do that. You get to meet Ray and get to meet Bruning, in person. Obviously, talked for hours online, but it's totally different. So you at least get that opportunity to meet face to face. So. Again, have a blast. I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures from that experience. But yeah, Scott Fishbowl, they also have the satellite tournaments that you can get into as well. So incredible reason to be a part of it. Like you said, Toys for Tots, great charity, great opportunity. Really appreciate again Ray for allowing me to represent DD in this draft. And yeah, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap out?
No, going to be a hell of a time, man. Let's do one more of these mocks. I don't know if
Yeah.
we'll get it live, but we'll definitely do some more mocks just between us to make sure we're ready for the Scott Fishbowl.
Yep, absolutely, man. So again, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on some of the Scott Fishbowl strategies. And thank you again for joining us here in the Fantasy Draft Room.